don't like collector's boosters. On this channel, I have repeatedly said that I don't like collector's boosters as a product. And yet, because of collector's boosters, the price of Magic cards for standard and from new sets have significantly decreased, which is something I do like. In fact, the cornerstone of this channel is advocating access to the game through affordability. And thanks to collector boosters, the cost of singles from new sets is lower than ever, which is a great thing for the consumer. Many Magic the Gathering players ask the question, isn't it hypocritical to say collector's boosters are a bad product and simultaneously benefit from and revel in the extremely low price of singles that results because of that product? Answer: no. I'd like to explain why, and in so doing, also clear up some things about myself and my channel, what I say and why I say it. I also want to talk about you as a consumer, what your goals are, and how you can aim to be as effective as possible with the use of your money. I'd like to talk as well about Wizards of the Coast, what their goals are as a company, and, ultimately, the relationship between you, me, and them. So, let's clear up a few things about the cost of Magic the Gathering cards. I'm going to hop around to other examples in this video, such as Wizards of the Coast decreasing the allocation of draft boosters, and how we as consumers should interpret things such as that. But first, let's start with the collector booster contradiction, or seeming contradiction. Collector's boosters cost anywhere between $250 to $300 per booster box. Strixhaven collector boosters are currently going for about $275. Previously, they were as high as $300. Some sets can drop below $200, such as Kaldheim has, and other sets, such as Commander Legends, can be as high as $433 per box of 12 booster packs. Because these packs are filled with foils and offer new premium treatments of cards, and because they are cracked in massive numbers by everyone from game stores to investors to whales to the average player, they flood the marketplace with cards, and as a result of such a large supply of singles, as well as premium singles, as well as the new emphasis on the most premium treatments as the most desirable cards, have caused the price of singles from each new set to plummet. This does not make collector boosters a good deal for you to buy. It makes singles a good deal for you to buy. You can argue that this makes collector boosters existing and being opened a good thing, but what you must realize and what you must accept is that it does not make it a good product for you to spend your money on. When you come to a channel such as this and ask the question, is it worth it for me to spend my $300 on 12 collector booster packs, you are not asking, in the overall economy of this game that is owned by a multi-billion-dollar international corporation, should I sacrifice my $300 for the greater good? You are asking, am I going to get appropriate value from spending my money on this product in this way? Your responsibility is to yourself. Now, of course, the answer to that question and questions like that is always going to be highly, highly subjective. Many different players have many different needs, and I have never presented myself as having the universal answer to each and every one of my viewers. Rather, I attempt to offer you my insight into the question, show evidence for my claims, and give a succinct synthesis in the form of a final conclusion. And then you must decide for yourself what best meets your needs. You can and will and should disagree with me on some evaluations, whether they are evaluations of card sleeves or commander decks, but hopefully, even if you disagree with me, my discussion, analysis, and evidence as to my claims helped you better understand your options and aided you in feeling that what you ended up buying for yourself was the best use of your money and brought you fun and satisfaction and not buyer's remorse. And if that happens, then I am beyond happy. That's the goal, for you to get the most for your money, the most value, and the most enjoyment. Do I feel that you spending your $300 on a Strixhaven collector booster box is worth it? I do not. I discuss and illustrate why I feel that way in my video on the subject. I feel that you could spend that same $275 to $300 on singles from the set and get better value. I feel collector boosters are not great value for the individual. Expected value be damned, because the average person buying a collector booster box isn't grinding through a case of them. They aren't averaging their value out over thousands of dollars. They're buying a box, or even just a few packs, and at these prices, and given what they contain, I do not feel it is worth it. Buy singles. Here's something a lot of people have been saying to me. If everyone bought singles, like you say, then no one would have singles to buy because no one would be cracking open those collector booster packs. If everyone followed your advice, then singles would be scarce and cost a fortune. I believe this to be a fallacy of reasoning. For starters, everyone doesn't follow my advice, and I'm not even advocating for each and every one of you to do so. I'm advising you, the viewer, how to spend your individual cash. Collector's boosters have caused card prices to plummet. There is little value in them. I suggest you do not buy them, and instead, I suggest that you buy the singles you need. Despite saying this, collector boosters will continue to be opened en masse. They are selling, and selling well, and they likely will continue to do so. You, individually choosing how best to spend your money for maximum value, will not change that whatsoever. But isn't Tolarian Community College the largest Magic the Gathering YouTube channel? Don't I essentially talk to a ginormous swath of the player base who hang on my every word? Don't I affect change on a massive scale through the words I say? Answer: to an extremely minimal degree, and I can prove it. First of all, 600,000 YouTube subscribers, only 1/6 of which tune into the average video, is an extremely narrow segment of the overall Magic the Gathering player population. Hundreds of thousands of players watch me, yes, but tens of millions of players do not. I have been saying not to buy collector boosters since the very first day they appeared on shelves, and yet, despite my saying that, collector boosters have still sold, and prices of singles have still dropped. Need more evidence that what I say affects only a narrow segment of the player population? Well, Secret Lair The Walking Dead was still the biggest selling Secret Lair of all time, despite my passionate and widely applauded takedown of it. Recently, Wizards of the Coast revealed that they donated about $1 million to Black Girls Code as the result of Secret Lair Black is Magic. While they did not disclose what portion of sales went to the charity, many have crunched the numbers and estimated it was likely about 1/3 of sales. Meaning that we can reasonably guess that this single Secret Lair made about $3 million. And Secret Lair The Walking Dead made more than that, by a lot, so much so that Wizards of the Coast could not contain their jubilation, and openly bragged about how Secret Lair The Walking Dead was overwhelmingly the most successful Secret Lair of all time. Repeatedly bragged about this. Alright, so if Secret Lair Black is Magic made about $3 million, how much do you think Secret Lair Walking Dead made? And that is with the largest Magic the Gathering YouTuber, as well as most of the online community, deriding the product. My saying to buy singles is not going to crash the singles market. The only thing it can affect is giving you, the individual who watches this channel, more to consider so that you can maximize your spending power, maximize your individual value and enjoyment. And as a consumer, that is what your priority is too: yourself and your money. Just like Wizards of the Coast's priority is to their bottom line. Do not confuse your goals with theirs. These goals are, often but not always, in opposition to one another. This does not make Wizards of the Coast evil or corrupt. It simply makes them a corporation. That's fine, but you are the customer. Your goal is to yourself, not towards the company, just as the company's goal is towards itself, not towards you. Now, let's discuss the massive decrease in draft booster boxes for Strixhaven. Overwhelmingly, I received comments saying, hey, it's a pandemic. People in most parts of the world shouldn't be drafting, so of course, Wizards of the Coast are going to make fewer draft booster boxes. Hang on, stop right there. We must approach this logically and with full acknowledgement of Wizard of the Coast's goals and how those may be different from our own. Their main goal, as we said, as a corporation, is to make money. So before we go any further, we must put this at the forefront of our mind. Their actions are motivated by this. So are we suggesting that with Strixhaven, after 1 year, over a year in fact, of pandemic, Wizards of the Coast has now decided that, for public safety and the greater good, they're going to dramatically decrease the production of draft boosters? It's been a pandemic for well over a year. Wizards of the Coast has been printing and selling draft booster boxes during that entire time. Why would they suddenly make such a fundamental change now with Strixhaven? I mean, obviously good PR is nice, but draft boosters are the centerpiece of their product line, and their goal is to make money. So is this truly a public relations move for safety and altruism over 1 year into this pandemic? Let's assume it is, that is why they did it. If so, why wouldn't they have made an announcement about doing so? I mean, their philanthropic efforts with Black Girls Code was publicized. They said the exact dollar amount of what they raised. So if they are underproducing draft boosters because it's the right thing to do during pandemic, why didn't they release a similar statement saying something like, hey, we here at Wizards of the Coast have a responsibility during these tough times to public safety, and as such, we are printing fewer draft boosters for Strixhaven. No official statement was made to this effect. It seems highly unlikely that, as a corporation, Wizards of the Coast would underprint draft booster boxes out of concern for public safety and then not comment on their good deed. And again, their goal is to make a profit. How does that even serve their goal? Exploring other possibilities, we might then argue that draft boosters aren't going to sell as well during pandemic, and thus they strategically shifted production to set boosters not out of any public greater good, but just because, hey, people aren't going to buy draft boosters during a pandemic, right? Wrong. It has already been revealed that 2020 did not see a decline in sales of Magic product at all. In fact, they set new records. People were buying up draft boosters more than ever before the entirety of this last year. So again, you must ask yourself why. When these are selling off the shelves, why would they cut back so dramatically on production? Perhaps it wasn't on purpose. Perhaps the pandemic caused production issues, and this was not a choice on the company's part. That's possible, except set booster boxes had their production dramatically increased enough to make up for the decrease in draft boosters. So we got to do a lot of heavy lifting here and say, all right, maybe there's different factories for making draft booster boxes and set booster boxes, and the factories that make the draft booster boxes were affected, but the factories that make the set booster boxes and I guess the collector boosters, those weren't affected. That's already pretty dubious. But even assuming all of that, we still have to go further, and we have to say that they were able to contact this different factory that makes the set boosters and the collector boosters and say, hey, you got to produce significantly more than we originally anticipated because of this unforeseen production issue hitting draft boosters. That is a lot of ifs. It's possible, but highly unlikely. And even if somehow that is what happened, why didn't Wizards of the Coast make a statement explaining that that is what happened? After all, when pandemic began, there were interruptions to supply and shipping, and Wizards of the Coast did publicly say, hey, we're experiencing issues. But no statement was made saying that pandemic has somehow hindered draft boosters, yet not set boosters and not collector boosters. But most importantly, ask yourselves, if they did this on purpose to protect you, or if they did this on purpose due to circumstances out of their control, in either case, why would they not make a statement assuring people that production of draft boosters would return to normal? I feel it is reasonable for me to assume the answer to that is because they have no intention of returning to the normal production of draft boosters. Everything points to them doing this on purpose. The increase of set boosters to match the decrease of draft boosters is a major indicator, and their lack of any statement explaining their reasons for doing this altruistically or logistically, nor any statement of intent for a return to producing draft boosters in their previous numbers. On top of all of this, store owners and distributors are already beginning to report that Modern Horizons 2 will have even further diminished allocations of draft booster packs. But Modern Horizons 2 will also have a dramatic increase, in set booster packs and also collector booster packs. Boy, that is all going to be very expensive. So if we're going to move forward with the belief that this was done on purpose, we now need to ask why. And again, a giant piece of evidence seems to be that set booster printing was increased in relation to draft booster printing being decreased. So why is Wizards of the Coast, who I again must stress has the goal of profits first and foremost, increasing the printing of set boosters and decreasing that of draft boosters? Well, prior to these cuts to production, set booster packs cost consumers more per pack than draft boosters, and there are only 30 set booster packs per box as opposed to 36 of draft booster packs. So with set boosters, Wizards of the Coast is able to produce less and charge more. If we are approaching this with the awareness of their goal being to make money, set boosters seem to make them better money than draft boosters. But draft boosters are what the majority of players buy. So what then is something the company can do? Well, they can produce less of the thing they would prefer you to buy less of, and they can produce more of the product they would prefer you buy more of, which is exactly what has happened. And look at the effect that has resulted. Even on Amazon, Strixhaven draft booster boxes are selling for 40% more than draft booster boxes have traditionally sold for. Heck, Commander Legends booster boxes are selling for more than the current standard set. Stores are sold out. If you want booster packs, you really are looking at set boosters and collector boosters. And that is great news for the company. But I do not think it is great news for us as consumers, because again, we have gone from buying draft boosters for about $100 a box to now $140 a box. We have gone from a product that could be played with via draft and sealed to products that they're just meant to be bought and cracked. Pure gambling, no game. I look at that and I say, this is great for the company, but not so great for the consumer. And that's what I said and why I've said it. I fully acknowledge I may be wrong. There are myriad of factors and information that I am not aware of, information that is simply not available to the public, in fact. I am not claiming any of this as absolute truth, any more than I am claiming that buying singles is the only option for each and every one of you out there. What I am doing is trying to look at this very logically, with full acknowledgement of the contrasting goals of company and consumer, and in my role as critic, offering an evaluation. You may disagree, but hopefully in showing this process, in talking about our relationships, our priorities, you can make decisions about how you want to spend your money for the best, most valuable, most enjoyable result on your end. Now, I hope very much this video has cleared a few things up about the cost of Magic the Gathering cards and our relationship to one another and to Wizards of the Coast. But now, I want to hear from you. Do you agree with me or do you disagree? Why? Let me know in the comments below.